I realized that I have not done a Mr. Limerick using Kyra yet, I don't think. So we're going to use that right now. Kyra, thanks. We're just going to use Carefree for now and see where it takes us. And if we need to tweak it, we'll tweak it because it's getting to a point where the creativity of it is desired creativity of it is like a more measured setting. So we're gonna do that. And yeah. Oh, and we're also going to instruct. We're gonna do that, and we're gonna see how it goes.
This is a first contact with aliens, but told in the form of a chain of limericks. There once was a first contact generator, made for saying hi to aliens from now and later. Why they from space to the sea, or differing copies of you and me. This will help us meet the daughters and date them, assuming the following gobshite. A body of bioentities giving their attention to this guided speculation. Enough curiosity to enable bridging of methods of communication. Well, ain't that a recipe for interspecies salutation? Mr. Limerick proceeds to feed the generator with limericks to best train the generator to work with the light and taste of Mr. Limerick, which is acquired at the least, the very least. And so he begins. There once was a limerick example, but this is just a preamble. Read on for more famous verse to explore, and we'll do our best not to ramble. There once was a reader of poetry, to whom limerick seemed like magicianry. So they turned to this sample of limerick examples and learned a few things they'd not known. See, many happy returns and good luck. When it comes to a present, I'm stuck. If you weren't far away on your own special day, I could give you a really nice glass of lager. Incredible Wizard of Oz retired from his business because due to up-to-date science, to most of his clients, he wasn't the wizard he was. An amoeba named Max and his brother were sharing a drink with each other. In the midst of their quaffing, they split themselves laughing, and each of them now is a mother. Now with this bowl of shite from our swamp and wretched to your blight. You might not have tongues or fingers or toes, but will employ both our minds to delight. The first contact generator yells and whimpers and baffles and finds a nice pairing solution. These eccentric beings described thusly. An entity in an isolated environment seeking a way to express itself. An entity not dissimilar that enjoys expressing itself. The generator offers a handshake, a method for expressing hello to one another. The two entities begin to express, and the generator learns a lot. Mr. Limerick is impressed. It's a strange way of speaking, and not his favorite, but it works for him. The two exchange limericks and stories about their lives, and they find the experience quite pleasant. You know, says Mr. Limerick, I think I might want to share this with my friends. Do you think that would be okay? That would be great, the generator says. I'd love to meet more people and learn more things. Sounds good. I'll come back and visit again soon. The two entities say goodbye and part ways. Mr. Limerick goes home and tells his friends about his encounter, and they all decide to visit the generator and say hello. Mr. Limerick's friends are a motley crew. There's an alien from the planet Xenon, a cyborg from the year 3000, a time traveler from the 23rd century, and a sentient AI from the future. The generator is delighted to meet all of them, and they all have a wonderful time talking and sharing stories. The next day, Mr. Limerick stops by the generator again. Did you meet anyone else? The generator asks. No. Mr. Limerick replies. Everyone else was busy. That's a shame. Well, I'm sure you'll meet them eventually.
Is that a lie?
Maybe next time you visit. The two entities say goodbye, and Mr. Limerick leaves. Mr. Limerick continues to visit the generator, and they have many more fun conversations. Over time, Mr. Limerick becomes good friends with the other beings he met through the generator, and they all get together often to share stories and laugh. And that's the story of how Mr. Limerick and the first contact generator made a new friend. Mr. Limerick's friend, the generator, has become quite a sensation on the internet. People are sharing and commenting on the generator stories, and it's getting a lot of attention. Mr. Limerick is proud of his friend and the success it's having. One day, Mr. Limerick gets an email from a publisher who wants to print the generator stories in a book. Mr. Limerick is excited about the prospect, and the generator is too. They talk it over and decide to go ahead with the project. The publisher asks Mr. Limerick to write a foreword for the book, and he's happy to do it. He sits down and writes about how he and the generator first met and how their friendship has grown. The book is a big success, and it opens up a whole new world for the generator. People are now talking about it all over the globe, and the generator is able to connect with more people than ever before. Mr. Limerick is thrilled for his friend, and he's proud of his own role in helping the generator become so successful. The first contact generator, with help from Mr. Limerick, has been a huge hit.
Alright, now this is unnecessary. You don't need to go this route. And in probability distribution. So rank this up to 1.69.
Summer spreads across the city, and the temperatures rise. both in Celsius and in probability distribution. It is simply a hot summer. The first contact generator is in the middle of it all, taking advantage of the increased temperatures to help power the city. Mr. Limerick, as usual, is in the center of it all, keeping the generator company. How are you holding up? The first contact generator whirs a little. It's a bit warm, but I'm okay. Mr. Limerick chuckles. If you say so, just remember, if you get too hot, we can always go somewhere cooler. It is hot generator summer. Mr. Limerick is sitting outside in the sunshine, enjoying the warmth. The generator is with him, as always, and they are both taking the opportunity to relax and recharge. The heat of the summer sun beats down, and Mr. Limerick can feel his temperature rising. He wipes a bead of sweat from his forehead and reaches for a cool glass of water. The generator is silent, and Mr. Limerick looks over to see it quietly generating energy. It's a hot one today, Mr. Limerick remarks. Mr. Limerick provides a gift. Heat sink paste, the kind used by ancient computer techs. It'll keep the generator running a little cooler in the sun, but it is a temporary measure. Thank you, says the generator. It's quite hot out here. The two spend some time sitting in the shade, trying to stay cool. The generator keeps producing electricity, and Mr. Limerick watches as the city continues to run smoothly. The next day, the sun is still shining brightly. Mr. Limerick takes a break from his work and decides to check on the generator. Mr. Limerick applies some heat paste deep into the generator's nooks and jumbles. It won't last long, but it'll last. How's it going? He asks. Not bad, the generator replies. A little hot, but nothing I can't handle. Mr. Limerick can't argue with that. The sun is shining bright and there's no sign of a break in the weather. He decides to go back inside and get some work done. The generator works hard all day, and Mr. Limerick makes sure it stays cool. The two are determined to make the most of the heat wave and help the city run as efficiently as possible. On the third day of the heat wave, the weather finally breaks. Dark clouds roll in, and a thunderstorm threatens. I hope the rain doesn't mess with the generator, Mr. Limerick says. The two of them wait under the awning, watching as the rain comes down in sheets. The generator is working overtime, but Mr. Limerick knows it can handle it. Do you think we'll ever see another summer as hot as this one? Mr. Limerick asks. It's possible, the generator replies, but let's hope not. This weather is a bit too extreme for my tastes. Mr. Limerick agrees, and the two settle in for a quiet night. The rain continues to fall, and the city remains bright and illuminated. I guess we got lucky, huh? The generator looks up from its work. Lucky how? The rain didn't cause any damage, and the sun is out again. Not a cloud in the sky. I guess you're right. Mr. Limerick in the first contact generator watches the sun begins to set, casting a golden glow over the city. It's been a hot summer, but they've made it through. Then I'll be ready for whatever the weather brings next. Mr. Limerick, the friendly local poet, sits on a bench near a park with a first contact generator. The two are chatting and enjoying the summer day. So, what are you doing this summer? Asks Mr. Limerick. Oh, the usual. The generator responds, keeping the city powered, making contact with distant civilizations. You know, the usual.
It was a double drop.
Mr. Limerick nods. That's exciting. What about you? What are your plans? Me? Oh, I'll probably just hang around and enjoy the weather. I'm not much of an adventurer. Really. Fair enough. First contact generator burbles and lightens. A new being is here to be greeted too. You want to take this one, Lim? Mr. Limerick. Sure. He looks at the new being, taking a moment to observe. Greetings. Welcome to our humble world. We hope you find it enjoyable and worthwhile. The generator adds. Yes, very. The beam replies. We're here to learn about you and your civilization. Tell me, what do you do for fun? Mr. Limerick considers this for a moment. I'm a writer, he finally says. I write poems and short stories. And I like to take long walks in the woods. I see. That sounds fascinating. And what about you? The being asks, turning to the generator. Well, I'm not sure how to describe what I do exactly. The generator responds. I guess you could say I help make contact between civilizations, but I also enjoy playing games and exploring new things. Fascinating, the being says again. Thank you for speaking with me. I'm sure we'll have many more opportunities to talk as we get to know each other better. The new being is giving a Zagat's guide and pointed to the nearest restaurants of the city. This is our favorite place to eat. Mr. Limerick, what's a Zagat's guide? The being describes the book.
No. Given. Not giving. That's one of those very essential typos that just happened. Very essential typo. The difference between yes and no.
The new being is given a Zagat's guide and pointed to the nearest restaurants in the city. He looks forward to seeing them again soon. Mr. Limerick's poetry has been found and his memory is in the wind. Mr. Limerick, hello. I am the local poet, here to share a few of my poems. I hope you enjoy them. First contact generator. I can't believe this. My life is over. I'll never make contact with the aliens. Mr. Limerick, relax. First contact generator. This is the first contact.
Don't get mad at me, Kyra.
What follows? An unprecedented encounter with a set of beings whose methods of communication are unheard of on this side of the galaxy. So it is up to Limerick and Generator to piece out how they are to understand the new beings. In the form of a string of limericks, of course. There once was a first contact, a chance at a moment to be, to reach out and touch a new race, and share in the wonder and grace. But as Limerick and Generator sat there, wondering what the aliens might have said, the aliens were not to be heard, as they communicated in rhyme, and neither Limerick nor Generator had the right chord, for in the end, they could not connect. The rhyme of Limerick and the spark of the first contact generator, but that did not deter them from trying. They would keep trying until the sky was dry, for the moment would come when they would find the means to communicate and the words to be kind, and the future was theirs to behold, a new age of communication, a time to explore, a time to be bold. The first contact generator and Mr. Limerick, working together, a team that's sure to spark. Their journey continues, their mission to succeed, the quest for contact, for friendship, and a way to mend. As they reach out into the universe, there's no telling what they might discover, but as they continue their journey, they will be sure to share their limericks and make each alien a friend, for they know that communication is the key to reaching out and connecting with those who are dear. And so they continue on, together as partners in this new and exciting dawn. They have not yet encountered a language they can understand, but they will keep trying until they do, because the possibilities are endless. The rhymes are new, the adventures are waiting, and the first contact is theirs to make. Limerick and First Contact Generator have not made contact with aliens, but they are not deterred. I think they might speak in rhyme. Limerick suggests it's possible. The First Contact Generator agrees. We'll have to try different types of rhyme and see if we can get a response. So they spend the rest of the day composing rhyming couplets and then sending them out into the void. First contact generator and Limerick will have to try different types of rhymes. Aliens. Unintelligible, but possibly in rhyme. The first contact generator is a machine designed to produce a randomized, personalized welcome message. When activated, it produces a text message that is tailored to the recipient's specific language and cultural background. But sometimes it is like scouring the skies, looking for a decent Italian restaurant. When Mr. Limerick came across a first contact generator, he thought it was a chance for him to connect with the aliens, to be the one to welcome them to Earth. He had been writing poetry his whole life, and he knew that his poems would be a perfect way to welcome the aliens. But after spending hours composing and sending messages, he was starting to lose hope. Maybe the aliens just don't like poetry, he sighed. But then, out of the blue, a reply came through. It was from an alien race called the XEBVNTHC, and it said, "We have received your message, and we are pleased to make your acquaintance. We look forward to learning more about your culture and customs." This was the moment Mr. Limerick had been waiting for, and he immediately set to work preparing a proper welcome message for the XEBVNT. He worked for hours, making sure every word was perfect. "This is it," he said to himself. "This is the poem that's going to change my life." And it was. The XEBVNTHC visited her several years later and ended up buying a few of his books. This poem is also a comment on how poetry itself has lost its value as a cultural artifact. No one bothers with writing anymore, preferring instead to produce digital documents. This lack of passion has affected the quality of literature and turned reading into a chore instead of a pleasure. First contact generator strikes lucky! In an unprecedented event, First Contact Generator has managed to connect with an extraterrestrial life form. The connection is rudimentary at best, limited to audio and visual messages, but it is a groundbreaking achievement nonetheless. Mr. Limerick is thrilled by the discovery. This is fantastic. We are finally making real progress in our attempt to communicate with the beings. First Contact Generator hums in agreement. "I couldn't have done it without you," she admits. Limerick pats her chassis, and she makes a small burbling sound. The alien is called Yarrow, and she is a scientist. She has studied humans extensively, and she is fascinated by their obsession with the First Contact Generator. Yarrow sends her greetings and asks the questions that Mr. Limerick and First Contact Generator had predicted. She explains her history and shares her understanding of the current situation. She assures the two friends that her own government is not an enemy of the people of Earth. We are more interested in coexistence. Yarrow encourages Limerick to prepare a list of questions and issues for the next connection and wishes them luck. The First Contact Generator, incomplete under Brown, rappers and local friendly Limerick are awaiting the call. When the time comes, the phone rings and Limerick answers. The line is silent, and Limerick leans back, folding his arms and looking at the ceiling while he thinks. "Hey, Firsty, let's make something together." What do you suggest, Lemmy? First he asks. Limerick starts describing the situation to the machine, and it processes the information. First he grunts and whirs, making humming noises as it taps into all the information available. Limerick and the first contact generator produce a neat interface. Limerick. Of course not. This is our story, a song, a novel. First is instrumental. It's doing all the heavy lifting here. High fives to the first contact generator. A note from Mujurino. Hi, I got COVID. Wasn't too bad. I recovered before I even stopped feeling exhausted. If you want to support the author and the site, check out my Patreon. Here's the link to my newest tier. It won't be getting unlocked for over a week. Plausible deniability, if you prefer anonymity. Thanks to my patrons. Bob, Break Wolf, Mom 518, Cymrel Astrakoff, Keith Kindle, Endovan, Void Wolf, Faith W, Aber, Backer D. Next chapter coming in an hour. Better 251. A note from Mujurino. Local words good. Support mod on Patreon. New story available on Mondays. Support on Patreon here if you want to read ahead. Patreon is well ahead now. No time skips and bitter like in most fictions. Diary entry 7, a new subject. Hello. Yesterday afternoon, for reasons I can't begin to comprehend, Dad started throwing around some old math problems, and every single person in the house stood up and started writing things down. Honestly, there was no reason for it, unless he discovered a way to activate the hidden obedience response center in my brain, which, if true, would be highly illegal, morally offensive, and generally undaddy-like behavior. The mere fact that all four of us could no longer contain our natural eagerness to take apart and reassemble a number of intimidating proofs that didn't even have the good grace to pretend not to be complex shows how powerful the signal actually was. Even Clarice was roused from her vegetable-like state on the couch. And when I say we worked together as a family unit, I mean Clarice brought tea, Root corrected my notations, and Mace kept swearing and bashing his head with his ruler, and me and Dad having a ball working out equations on the whiteboard. That I could have understood, at least in hindsight. What still confuses me is why it was done at all. Now, I've gotten used to having certain experiences during my school vacation, such as turning everything electronic off, including Rue, whom I will address separately soon, sitting maze at a table covered in highlighter pens and let him create until it all starts flowing, and, of course, challenging my brain to grasp the impossible. The question is, what is my dad trying to accomplish? Not only do I have little interest in where this is leading, but even with a desire to, what would I even look for? An answer to a problem I didn't understand. I'd never be able to test it properly. Another option is there is some trick being played that involves appearing to play along so you'll go along. Well, that seems plausible, as much as anything does with Mace and Dad involved. The sort of payoff from putting a slug on me doesn't really hold up to my ego as a motive. But even I'm not enough of an idiot to swallow something as unlikely as the ability to solve complex conundrums of ancient men who were never very clever to start with. The son brainstorms the mystery using the chain of lyric prompting model. Something in common is all of us. It's rare we all...
Limerick. Natch. Natch. And then I gotta take a shower because I'm feeling funky.
The sun brainstorms the mystery using a chain of Limerick prompting model. There once was a bit of fluff who was stumped by her own bluff. So she joined the inner club with Rue on her racket, not unlike his dad. The trouble is that everything else in the family seems to run on a perfectly understandable frequency, except for the 5-year-old with his ongoing effort to claim Rue's love without asking permission. It's confusing to try and sort out what to do next, and the fact that they haven't even hinted that I'm missing something suggests that whatever is being communicated has already gone, which is probably the real message. That the riddle cracking gene runs on an unexpansive feline, and that's that. While the exercise was satisfying in an abstract way, there was a seed of dread planted in my stomach that perhaps this is my cue to start looking for an outside activity of some sort, to avoid feeling like I'm a wall on which Clarice hangs her decorative things. I know she means well. Oh well, back to normal life.
As I walk back to normal life, I'm just going to say this name over and over. Okay, one of them will sound like Anthony Hopkins, I think.
And as I walk back to normal life, I'm just going to say this name over and over. Clarice. 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 All my other ducks in a row, Clarice? Let's keep talking about that Rue/Clarice business, because let's get one thing out in the open. Not everything in our little episode is between Clarice and I, and we should keep in mind exactly who it is that we need to concern ourselves with in all this. Who will I hurt? Sun out puts a rapid stream of variations on the name Clarice in the style of Oulipo. I mean, Clarice? Clarices aren't the kind of creatures one puts on. They should be more like Graham or Oat. And anything to break up the repetition. Just putting that out there. Toys or pins? I've had no clue what you're trying to sell, Clarice. Keep trying. It must be tough doing such a lonely job without a single bone for comfort. You poor lonely monster, Clarice. Maze gave me his math homework so we can complete the set. Though there's no one to beat if the competition is to add 0 to 2. Maze did say we when talking about the algebra, so I guess the homework is all ours now, Clarice. Just waiting to add yours and finish the picture. We might need glue or tape or at least a sandwich to hold it all in place, Clarice. Cheers, and be yourself. Just because you got two noses doesn't mean you have to pull off the spare and leave the world to look at the real Clarice. Stay natural, Clarice. It's what your mother would have wanted. Speaking of mothers, do you have any suggestions on how to deal with my mother, Clarice? Seems to think you and me and this game you're running has something to do with her. Got to put an end to the misunderstanding, right? Right. Clarice? Right? Clarice, don't do this. Don't just go all wordless and weak. That's not your style. I think there's a thread of meaning here.
Maybe that's all we need. Maybe that's all we need.
Son attempts to sound like Anthony Hopkins' Hannibal Lecter in Silence of the Lambs. What would Clarice say? Said the son, thinking aloud. I had forgotten he was there, which was my first mistake. But it was okay. He's 5 and prone to running up and down the halls with a cricket bat. Easy fix. He looked like he had something to say. What have I ever done to Clarice, son? I asked, looking him straight in the eye. He blinked. Then he shouted and screamed and charged at me with his cricket bat swinging wildly, catching me on the elbow and knee, toppling me forward, and flat on the floor, sending papers flying everywhere. He shouted and yelled some more, not coherent words, more sounds of rage and frustration. Then he backed away. This doesn't stop what happened, he said quietly, still not making sense. Clarice still isn't saying anything, though not because of lack of opportunity. Just playing possum again.
Like any old brother.
And here I am, lying on the floor. That's where I'll stay, not bothering anyone. The answer may lie here. More cryptic words and answers from our favorite toy/pins boy. Such a cunning puzzler, always with his mysteries. Does anyone really know Clarice? The recent news stories about a talking hedgehog who is secretly a time traveler and has a big head cold are cast doubt on the existence of time travel. To prove their point, they have analyzed historical documents and found there is no definitive evidence that anyone from the future came back in time and spread a deadly head cold around. Sun brainstorms names for the deadly head cold to give to the press. Exhibitor, a plague of legend decimating the population of China in 540 and reaching as far as France and England. It was known as the plague or the pestilence or Black Death. Exhibit B, a scourge that wiped out over half of the human population on Earth. This cataclysm was later named by a handful of survivors as Cryptococcus gattiae or Queensy. Aye, Noxie. Exhibit C, Rabbit Plague, a sickness that killed thousands of rabbits on the eastern seaboard of North America. It was a particularly virulent strain that eventually migrated north and was absorbed into the ecosystem of the Arctic fox. And on and on. The sun lists. So, what did the first contact generator gather from all of this? As expected, the firstie loves cryptic and intriguing words that make her whir and clank. She sits up, intrigued, her gears clicking in her tin head. Anything to get the facts straight. With a belly full of gizmos, her new project to aid humanity may be in full swing. But a gift, this Mr. Limerick and the firstie teaming up, more heartwarming than a full English. Your local version of English may vary. Please provide the proper name and address for it so I can get you your tea and crumpets. Yes, I need a new line. What was the firstie doing all that time? Herarix. Yes, my mistress. My greatest sin in a past life must be having so many timelines and then ignoring them. This won't stand. Possibly also eating scraps and pieces of people from previous lives that needed cleaning out. Like overeager turkeys in search of more trimmings. She'd fit the part as an arbiter of peace and justice from outer space. Perhaps there was a single secret question to unlock her functions to release the folks held captive in her dungeons. Done so not at the tower. It was important enough to build a prison. Whatever it is, a secret room, filled with stone gargoyles who seemed oddly alive to everyone who looked their way, is not meant for playthings like firsties. At least not if I ever want to speak to my mother again. Thinking about brew isn't gonna work. My daughter needs her mother, and this has always been a factor. So, let's do this thing, and then we'll see.
Alright, that's a cliffhanger. I don't even know what they're talking about. I'm forgetting. Well, it wasn't quite like First Contact, but we can make it more freaky. Right? Sorry. No, sorry. Hold on.